What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Randy here with RTSMOBILEGAMING, bringing you a fantastic video today. We are playing the Lord of the Rings Rise to War, and in today's video, we are talking about the new king of PvP. We are talking about my man, Celeborn. He is a baller, and this is going to be, and I warn you now, this is going to be a lengthy, deep dive, build, discussion, theory crafting, review, and combat report viewance. I made that last word up. So, if you want to stick with me, you will be an expert at Celeborn theory crafting by the end of this video, because I've been working on this guy for 2 seasons, okay? I've been working on him with just Sentinels, and now that I'm LOTR, I have been working on him with March Wardens. So we are here in day 8 of my Season 5 journey, which is really rebuilding Glory Season 4 repeat, because I didn't want to wait a month. So we're here in our Season 5 journey. I am LOTR, day 8. I have a full march of March Wardens, and I am here to tell you that he is absolutely insanely strong with March Wardens, okay? So let's talk about the build real quick, and then I'll show you some reports against enemy Tier 3 commanders where I just wiped the floor, okay? So let's get into it. First things first, the build. All right, and again, this will be a deep dive, so if you don't like deep dives, probably go to the next video. But stick with me, and you will be an expert at Celeborn, okay? That's all I can say. So, Celeborn, you have to work with one guiding theory, okay? And that theory is that you need to make your Sentinels unstoppable. You need to turn your Sentinels into the unstoppable force, okay? Which is a term from back in the WoW days, right? There's an item, the unstoppable force meets the immovable object, right? There was like a shield and a hammer or something. I'm trying to remember what items they made them. But basically, you want to turn your March Wardens into unstoppable forces of damage and death and destruction, okay? And how do you do that? Well, March Wardens already have anti-stun, okay? They're fantastic. March Wardens also have Pursuit buff, which is, again, fantastic. So with the Pursuit buff and the anti-stun buff, they are able to basically already dodge half of crowd control and cut right through avoidance, which is fantastic, okay? Now, Celeborn has a very unique skill that is unique to him and him alone. It is called the Wise. The Wise is a focus-based, tiered rewards ability, okay? And you can gain all of the rewards with 1 point. So, the more points you put in, the more damage mitigation you will get. If you're respect level 25, you might max this out. If you're not respect 25, you probably won't max it out. That's just how it is, okay? But with 1 point, you will gain the 250 focus anti-madness buff. With 350 focus, you will also be able to gain initiative. However, I have seen almost every player that I've seen run Celeborn has tried to hit the 350 mark, okay? What you do is you take so much away from your damage output from both your items and your overall build that hitting that 350 focus to gain initiative just isn't worth the trade-off. What you have to do is build pure damage, okay, and stick at the 250 focus mark to gain that anti-madness. So now, my March Wardens are literally unstoppable forces, okay? You can't dodge them. You can't stun them. You cannot fear them with madness. All you can do is let them shoot you in the face with their big pointy arrows. Pew, 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 baby. So, the rest of Celeborn's build is about maximizing your damage for your unstoppable force, okay? Celeborn is like the good factions version of the Witch King, except he doesn't have double strike. But what he does have is a very similar skill build to double strike, where, for example, if you're running a physical Witch King build, you will give your units plus 30% damage, 75% chance of double strike, okay? What Celeborn does is he gives March Wardens plus 75% damage for the first 2 rounds, and a passive 31% damage for the entire fight. Sounds familiar, right? Instead of having a 75% chance to double strike, I just deal 75% more damage. So the double strike is really nice. So is the bonus damage. So Celeborn, with this particular build, is essentially a Witch King who doesn't deal burn damage, so you can't counter him with High Alert, okay? He also doesn't do quite as much damage as Alchemists, right? Because Alchemists deal burn damage and it bypasses defense. But they deal pretty substantial damage. So you're going to deal a total of 106% bonus damage for your units just based on Celeborn's skills here at level 41, all right? With that, abilities, Guide, Lord of Lorien, Deadeye, and then as I level up further, I'll have Fire Information maxed out. Once this is maxed out, again, we'll have 106. I guess I'm doing like 90. I must be doing 98.8% damage right now, not 106. I'm sorry. But I'm dealing 98.8% bonus damage right now. 75% of it falls off after round 2. Similar to Witch King, right? You lose your double strikes. So, Celeborn is the good faction version of Witch King. So, now that you have unstoppable forces, okay, that deal at this exact level 98.8% bonus damage, you're going to be punching people in the face pretty freaking hard. So the whole point of Celeborn is to deal more damage to the enemy before they deal damage to you, okay? Kill as many of the enemy as you can in the first 2 rounds. That way you don't lose as many troops. And that's his overall philosophy. For the items themselves, okay? We have Mirkwood Bow with +3 attack, 9% range damage. We have the Mithril Coat here, which is going to be some focus. You can use any chest that gives focus. This happens to be a decent one. Actually, at level 48. At level 48, I will have enough passive focus where I can maintain this 250 mark, and I can actually take this chest off and put on something different with more damage or really whatever I want. But right now, I need the focus, okay? For the helmet I'm going to put on will do Trapper's Hood because this is plus attack, and it's a nice madness buff. You can use different bonuses if you want. I happen to find Hysteria is super strong, especially because it triggers in round 1. It's just going to increase your advantage in the first couple rounds, okay? So, by increasing your advantage in the first couple rounds, by inflicting madness on the enemy, and being immune to crowd control yourself, you can really widen that gap, okay? This last item is very, very key for fighting Witch Kings. You don't necessarily need this item against many armies. However, if you're fighting enemy Witch Kings, you will need an item that has Blitz on it in order to defeat them, okay? Because if you get hit with a double strike of Alchemists, whether your March Wardens are unstoppable or not, they will be killed, okay? So you need to attack before the Witch King does in order to defeat Witch Kings. If you're not fighting against Witch Kings, you really don't need initiative. Initiative is nice, but your March Wardens are going to be faster than almost every unit that isn't cavalry. So you'll only be hit with cavalry first. As you can see here with the +12 speed on my gear, even their base speed is 99. This is faster than almost all infantry, I think, except Dunlending Warriors. So again, the only units that will attack before your March Wardens are going to be cavalry, unless the enemy has initiative like Witch King. So, to counter Witch King, I am using this particular fiddle. If you happen to not be fighting Witch Kings, you can change this out for something that has plus damage on it. It's really maybe the Palantir of Orthanc with damage bonus on it or something. You could increase your damage even further. That's for different, theory crafting on some sort of server where you're not fighting Witch Kings. I don't know. Maybe RP or something where you're fighting another good faction, okay? For the army build itself, again, you want to maximize your March Wardens on the field. Right now, there's 2,600 of them. You also still want to have a front line and a back line to protect your March Wardens and make sure they're not getting hit by all the damage right at the start, okay? So, Wardens with Celeborn's bonuses, I'm up at 100 defense. These are tier 2 units. Eventually, I'll train the tier 3. I've just spent all my resources rushing a full march of March Wardens by day 8. So, leave me alone. All right. Eagles are going to be really, really strong complements to the March Wardens as well. Eagles, while weak to ranged units, very, very tanky against enemy melee. So, if you're fighting enemy ranged, there's a good chance your March Wardens will hit them and kill them all very quickly because they have low defense. In which case, your Eagles will be tanking phenomenally against enemy melee units, okay? how does this build perform? Now that we've spent a few minutes talking about the build, let's look at some reports, guys, because I have... Ooh, someone hit me. What's this? He came in and he tried and he lost. Oh, my goodness. Ooh. Guys, we'll walk through my Gandalf the White build another day, okay? But you just saw me wipe the floor with that Witch King. And I got tier 2 knights, baby. Come get some. He's running a Corsair build, first of all. Like, what is this? Is even happening? Let me send some reinforcements. Someone look at some Celeborn reports, okay? And yes, I'm using knights and Bree riders because knights are super cheap, guys. Let me just take 5 seconds to talk about knights. Knights are probably the most underrated unit in the game, okay? And let me tell you why. Knights have the same exact skills as cataphracts, okay? What does that mean? That means they get minus 10% damage from all sources. That also means they get another minus 15% damage from all melee sources. That totals up to a 25% mitigation to all physical damage from melee units. All damage from melee units. I don't know why I said physical. All damage from melee units. Alchemists reduced by 25%, okay? Everything's reduced by 25%. It's fantastic. They also have very high HP for a tier 2 unit. Absolutely insanely high HP, so they're very tanky. Their defense is a little bit lower than the cataphracts, absolutely, but with the right gear, you can get them into a very healthy range where they're still super effective, okay? So that's my talk about alchemists. Let me just pop my guard here while I reinforce. Let's look at some Celeborn reports, guys. Let me jump over to Eternity Rising. Shout out to Eternity Rising because he has been theory crafting Celeborn with me all last season while he was Lothlorien, and now this season I am putting it into action. All right, so I'm going to take a look through all 3 of these reports really quick, and then I'm going to jump back to the Sauron report because I feel like that's the best representation of a good round and a bad round from the March Warden, so I want you to really see that, okay? This Gandalf the White, we're fighting against an enemy tier 3 commander, okay? He is respect level 5 or 6. He is running a damage build, which I don't like this build to begin with, but that's up to him. He's running a damage build. He does have some tier 2 units and 3,200 tier 3 units, so obviously his, we both have tier 2. He's got a few more tier 2 than I do. This is just an example of Celeborn's performance, okay? This isn't the strongest Gandalf the White I've ever seen. It's one with decent gear and a weird build, okay? But here's the damage. 197,958 damage from the March Wardens. Boom, all right? Here in the next report, folks, we have Thorin. Slightly lower level than my commander. Running tier 2 units, okay, which is, again, his decision. Pretty strong gear with 5-star purples, okay? And an overall decent build. All right. March Warden's 182,000 damage, okay? And now into the last report, which is really the best representation, okay? And as I find more good reports, guys, I'm going to keep PvPing with them. When I find some awesome reports, I'm going to make a video about it. This is just day 1 in PvP, and I really wanted to show you guys what is happening here, okay? So check this out. The Dark Lord is running a very geared, very strong build for Sauron. He's obviously level 38, so he still has 12 more skill points that are missing from here, okay, in case you're wondering why some of the stuff isn't maxed out. Personally, I don't know why you have to max out Garthor if you aren't maxing out Overload and Soul Siphon. So I would probably, if I were in his position, have Garthor at like level 10 and have Soul Siphon at 5, have Overload at 5. Just my opinion, okay? However, he's running a decent build with full tier 3 units, okay? So I thought this was going to be a good representation. Here into the actual, here into the stats on the report, check this out. The March Wardens, 203,888 damage, yes, yeah, oh, they deal a lot of damage. All right, how much damage, you ask? That's a good question. We're going to take a look at rounds 1, 2, and 3, because like I talked about before, rounds 1 and 2, they're going to deal crazy damage. Round 3, they will lose 75% of their damage bonus and move on from there, okay? So here we can see the bonuses stacking up. Let me go ahead and find them. All right, here we go. 45% damage. Check. 31% damage. Check. 21% damage. Check. And another 2.8% damage. Check. So I'm actually at about 99% bonus damage here, okay? Really substantial damage bonus. Here we go. Here in round 1, folks, since my March Wardens are immune to madness and stun, they really don't care about Sauron's madness debuff. They don't care whatsoever. What they do care about is the fact that there are some snipers on the field that need to be punched directly in the face. So here in round 1, the March Wardens have punched these snipers unavoidable, unstunnable, unfearable with madness for 43,768 damage. Boom. Here we go into round 2. Here we go into round 2. Get excited. Oh, they hit me back for 4902. Very nice. Here in round 2, folks, again, you cannot madden me, okay? You cannot dodge me. All you can do is die. The Dragoons, which have an inherent 30% reduced damage received from range units, guys. The Dragoons, again, Evil Man Cavalry, anti-ranged, 30% reduced damage received from range units. They were still hit for 29,630 damage. It's crazy, okay? And I did not trigger dual blows. In either round, I did not trigger dual blows. So if I had triggered dual blows in either one of these rounds, my damage would have been astronomically higher, and I really would have mopped the floor with the Sauron, okay? Here in round 3, I'm going to lose 75% damage, okay? It has fallen off going into round 3. So I will still deal decent damage, and here's a double strike. I'll still deal decent damage, but it's not quite as high. So here we go, hitting them for 24,806 damage. I did trigger a double strike, and I hit for another 15k, wiped them out. This is the 40,000 damage round, even though I lost my damage bonus, okay? And that's how this build works, guys. That's how the build works. You can't stun them. You can't dodge them. You can't madden them and fear them. All you can do is out-damage them. If you cannot out-damage the March Wardens, you're going to lose the fight. You might have a draw with me if you're super-duper tanky. Like maybe you're a Gandalf the Grey and you just have insanely tanky skills on and gear. I don't know. But the best you can hope for if you can't out-damage me is a draw. The only way to defeat Celeborn March Warden build is to put out more damage than Celeborn's March Wardens, okay? And that is the #1 theory that we have been running with for this build. Put out more damage than your enemy, faster than your enemy, and you will defeat your enemy, okay? That's how Witch King works. That's how we pioneered at RTS Mobile Gaming. We pioneered the Witch King build back in Season 1. On like day 7 or 8, we are killing Gondor. And here we go again with Celeborn on day 8 of Season 5. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a new king in town. His name is Celeborn, and he likes March Wardens. Yes. So, I love you all a long time. Thank you for bearing with me. We're almost at 20 minutes here, guys. Thank you for bearing with me. This is such an exciting time to be playing. Did I get a report? Oh, I got a gathering. I was hoping someone attacked me. We're here. We're fighting. Shout out to everybody. I love you all a long time. Thank you for sticking with me again. This has been something that I have been theory crafting with Eternity Rising for, I would say, about 1.5 seasons. Pretty much since Celeborn came out with Círdan, we have been talking with Eternity Rising, my good buddy there, about builds for Celeborn. And here we are showcasing it. So get excited. As I do more PvP and I kill more Tier 3 players with good gear, I will post more good videos of Celeborn in action, all right? So I love you all a long time. Randy, out.